Gotta kick off the show here.
We're agreeing.
So cleaned up.
Welcome to the MafiaCast, part of the Buffalo Rumblings Podcast Network. We are super excited to have everybody today. If you're listening right now, we appreciate you joining us. Please hit the like and subscribe button on YouTube, Facebook, share it. And as Casey likes to say, tell your friends. Boys, how you guys doing? What's going on?
It's been a busy week, man. It's almost Friday. Looking forward to another great weekend of football. This year's just been fun to me, man. It's been up and down. It's been a roller coaster ride, and it's just been a really good year, I think, for the NFL.
It has been fun. I mean, it's truly as anybody can beat anybody this year. You know, there's not.
Yeah.
Every team has like had its streaks. You know, the Bills in the beginning of the season, we were like the hottest team. No, like there wasn't a team better. And then, you know, for a while it was the Eagles and the Niners and the Cowboys. And then, you know, the Cowboys kind of fell off and they're up and down right now. And then it was the Eagles and the Niners, and the Niners lost, and it was just the Eagles. Now the Eagles are losing, and the Niners getting better. The Bills are getting better. Ravens are heating up again. Miami's heating up again. So it's fun. This is going to be a really fun weekend of football.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Hopefully a fun weekend of football.
Yeah,
everything.
A little bit of both.
Yeah. And as my daughter Ashley here says, fun or emotionally taxing. If you're a Bills fan, get used to being emotionally taxed. That's just how it is. It's been that way since as long as I've watched them play back in the 80s. So get used to it. I think one of these days we need to have Ashley on the show. I think you guys are getting. She would not hold back.
I'm down. I'm all for it.
She's the only one of all of my kids that said that they would actually do it too. The rest are like, hell no, I'm not getting on there.
What chickens? Ranch boy, I can understand.
Yeah.
I get that one. He'll get crucified. Ashley, yeah, she's got the thick skin. She can definitely take it on the chin.
Yeah. Roy, biggest problem with the NFL is officiating. Yes.
And they keep adding more rules, right?
More rules you don't really understand, rules that are left up for interpretation, and you just don't know what's going on, what to call. It is frustrating, but I know a lot of Bills fans say that the officiating is out to get us. A lot of Dolphins fans say the same thing. Chiefs fans say the same thing. Seahawks fans say the same thing. It's just the officiating just straight up sucks. It doesn't care what team it is. I don't think
right?
there's anything.
Yeah, that's the biggest issue is that there's no consistency across the board. You know, I understand, you know, officiating is a game of opinion, but I mean, there has to be a standard at some point. You know, there has to be, you know, X, Y, and Z happens, you throw the flag, period, point blank. If, you know, one of those three doesn't happen, you don't throw the flag, point blank. You know, like it's just one of those things, you know, like if there's just no cohesiveness across the board, everybody is different.
Yeah, I agree. At one minute, I kind of was thinking at some point, maybe if there's any question, give benefit to the player. But then again, that wouldn't really work because which player are you giving benefit to in some cases, you know?
Yeah.
I really don't know what the answer is to it other than use the technology we have a little bit more. I mean, but
it's either that or use it. But we tried that. Remember when we started reviewing like pass interference and all that stuff, and like it got ticky tack. Yeah, it got to be too much. I personally would prefer there to be like more no calls. You know what I'm saying? Like more so just kind of let it play, especially on a lot of these BS roughing the passers. And I know that as like Josh has perfected, you know, the flop, and he like it, and I cherish him for it. You know, it's awesome. It's worked out in our favor. But like I hate like these soft roughing the passer calls. You know, a lot of this hand fighting downfield that teams aren't even going for completion. They're going for the spot foul on the pass interference.
Oh yeah.
even Jerry Ostrowski
Sure.
of Line to Gain, an offensive lineman mentioned, oh my God, like what are these defensive linemen supposed to do? Like when they hit the quarterback, you physically can't even land on the guy anymore. I mean, how do you expect to tackle somebody? But again, we have Josh Allen. You can't. They're forcing you to arm tackle, and you can't arm tackle that guy. So it's one of those like we're benefiting from it, but it's still bull crap.
Yeah. I don't mind it as much. I mean, it is unfortunate that it's kind of inconsistent, but it makes you, it makes me say, you got to get up 2 possessions. And if you don't want a flag thrown, then don't do anything that would make them throw the flag, because it is avoidable, right? At the end of the day, if you're not getting handsy with the receiver, as a defensive back, or if you're not,
how do you cover them though?
Well, that's the thing. Like, because a receiver is going to push off just as much, if not more, because they're way less likely to be called. And then, so what? You're just going to get burned because a receiver decides to bully you. You can't let that happen. So you have to fight back a little bit. I understand there's no illegal contact within the 5 yards, but like, what do you expect him to do?
Our show. We did not even come here to talk about officiating today, and Roy has hijacked the show, bringing up officiating. He continues on. Blatant calls should be overruled or corrected in the New York office. There's plenty of replays that happen before another play is run.
Yeah,
it's He's funny. 100% correct.
We sit here, 100%. We sit here and we watch these games, and they're like, "Oh, well, I don't know if this happened." They show a replay. It's like, "Oh yeah, that's a fumble." 20 minutes later, the officials finally make a decision. If I can sit on my couch and see that it's this or that within a couple of replays, like I don't understand why these guys can't figure that out.
Exactly. Like you said, we do, like, that's where you got to put the technology to the advantage and let New York, step in and be like, no, hold on. Like, let's take another second and we're going to tell you how this really goes.
Yeah. Let's move on because, like I said, we're talking about officiating, even though I know it's very difficult to talk about the NFL and football without officiating. Okay, I'm going to actually throw one more thing in there. I saw a Miami Dolphins fan today posting on Twitter, well, I can't wait until Sunday's game when the officials ruin the game and give it to the Bills. I'm like, you haven't even played the game and you're already giving your team excuses.
Yeah.
That's comical.
Oh, my God. Fins fans are delusional, man.
Oh, it's been bad this year. Last year was rough with them. This year, it's like gone to a whole nother level. I don't get it.
But I mean, I get it. I mean, they're 11-4. They're finally healthy. All like mostly healthy, I should say. I mean, they've had some injuries throughout the year. Now Waddle could be out for the year for the next few weeks anyway. But I mean, what are you talking about? You didn't get help. I mean, how many penalties, blatant penalties, did we see the Cowboys not get against the Miami defense? Like it's insane. The Cowboys 100% should have won that game.
Yeah.
It would have been nice.
The comments are flowing in. That's not the one I meant to click on, but that's fine. So we're going all the way to the Super Bowl or what?
We are going all the way.
We are going all the way.
We're rolling.
Period.
I've never felt better about the Bills.
We'll come back to that in just a minute. Let me get to what Big E says here. Allen scares me when he runs the ball, gets hurt. Yeah, the Bills would definitely be in trouble if Josh Allen were to get injured. So we're not going to even talk about that. We're moving on from that topic. Knock on wood if you got it around you. There, I got you.
Real quick. He's never been injured running the football. He's only ever been injured in the pocket. So
it's true. It is true.
And
this is very accurate. Fans having Bills Mafia living in their heads rent free. Go ahead, Casey.
I hope Ashley can speak when she comes on the show better than she types while she's watching the show.
Speaking of that, I like what you guys saw what Colin Cowherd said, that Dolphins are just seeking validation. That's all they're doing.
Yeah.
He's like,
true.
He said something to the effect of, if you're a sports writer and you're writing average articles and none of them are hitting, and then all of a sudden you hit on an article and you're like, yeah, I'm the greatest, right? And everyone's like, yeah, you did it.
It does kind of seem like they are like that annoying little sibling that is trying to hang out with like their older sibling and their friends.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, because like you just said, like, yeah, we're here, like we can do this. Oh my god, like,
Yeah.
and we're like,
Good for you.
okay, this is your first year. Like, let's see how you can actually handle the playoffs. Because I mean, we still haven't seen Tua in the playoffs. We haven't seen that team full bore. Yeah, I understand that they pushed us to 3 points last year in the playoffs, but I mean, I will gladly take our team this year over last year's.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think didn't Coward say that they haven't won a playoff game in 23 years? I think that was the number.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what part of his point was. You're writing
Yeah.
you write articles for 20 years, and in 1 week you I don't know you get one, but yeah, I mean,
let's. There is a couple. So I put it out there on our Facebook page earlier, the MafiaCast on Facebook, that Jermaine Ifedi was released today, and we all know. I think by now, most people know that earlier in the week they activated Kyrie Elam from the IR, so he's on the 53. And with the Fetty out of the picture released, that opens up another spot. I think I know the answer to this question, but I'm going to ask you guys anyways. Who do you think is going to get that spot?
Justin Shorter.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not the one I was looking for.
No,
What do you think?
I'm just kidding.
Mike?
Okay. It'll probably be Daquan Jones, but how funny would it be if it was for Justin Shorter?
Yeah, that would be different. I don't see Shorter happening because I don't think he turned out to be, what we thought we might have had, I guess, or I don't know. But yeah, I mean, my guess would be Daquan Jones, but I don't know. Has anyone heard the status of Matt Milano at all? We're all dying to know what he's up to.
He wouldn't be
the
back
last
to the
thing
playoffs.
that
no, but
the last thing I heard was it's not likely. But then again, who knows? Maybe if we advance deep into the playoffs, you never know. Wouldn't that be something if he came back in time for a Super Bowl? That would be pretty cool.
Could you imagine?
Daquan was a full participant, right, in the practice.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
Good news.
Well, and that's a kind of getting back to the Daquan Jones thing. For me, I do hope that he plays some this week. I'm not asking him to
Me
play
too.
a full game or whatever, but I do want to see him get on the field and get a little bit of playing time so that when the Miami game comes, he's ramped up and ready to go. And of course into the playoffs, because I'm 100% convinced that Week 18 game with the Dolphins is going to be for the division. I think Ravens beat them this weekend. I think Buffalo, I don't want to say coast, but I think they're going to be fine this weekend. I am not going to predict a blowout probably ever again as long as I live. I did that last week, and we know how that turned out. But yeah, the impact of Daquan Jones to this defensive line, especially with Jordan Phillips going on IR earlier, I think last week, and to get him back would be huge. I think that would be massive. How big of an impact do you guys think he would have, and who would benefit the most from having him back on the line?
I mean, I think it would be the defensive ends because now you got to worry about Ed Oliver, who has not missed a step since Daquan Jones has been out. I mean, he has played as good as he since week one. And he's just been phenomenal this entire year. I think this benefits the defensive ends more, the most, because this is you have to focus so much on those tackles. You can't double team everybody. So this is going to get, Leonard Floyd, Von Miller, Greg Rousseau, AJ Epinesa when he's back healthy, Kingsley Jonathan. It's going to get a lot of these guys one-on-ones. And Ed Oliver, and we've seen how he can work a guard one-on-one. I think this is, it's the whole defensive line that's going to benefit the most, really. You can't really pinpoint on one player.
Yeah, and he's definitely going to come back and provide, I think, more of a push up the middle.
Yeah. But if we're getting more pressure, it also opens up the window to help out our defensive backs as well, right?
Yeah, and the linebackers keeps them a little bit cleaner.
Some turnovers or something, maybe.
Some blocks.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I don't know what you might consider the most important position on a defensive side. I think you can make a case for several positions, probably at corner and along the defensive line. But I think when you have somebody like Daquan Jones who can eat up those blocks, like you just said, that's huge. That affects the entire team from the trenches to the second line and third line. The defense. because yeah, it puts guys like Epinesa in more one-on-one situations. And speaking of Epinesa, I did want to say he was out of the non-contact jersey today, so it sounds pretty promising that he could be ready to go this weekend, as well as along with Micah Hyde, I believe, has been a full participant.
Hyde, I
So
wouldn't mind if they sat one more week. I would rather be a lot more cautious with, and even AJ. I wouldn't mind if they sat both of them one more week. I would rather everybody be more healthy going into
safe.
good
Miami
point.
Play
than I
safe.
am going into this Patriots game. I'm a lot more confident,
That's a
playing
good
Cam
point.
Lewis and Kingsley Jonathan, and as well as Rousseau has played these
Yeah.
last couple of weeks. I'm more than confident in that defense to be able to beat Bailey Zappi.
I'll just play devil's advocate here. We thought it would be easy to beat Mac Jones, and we let him look like Joe Montana driving down the field for a go-ahead winning touchdown.
Agreed. We also didn't have the same offensive coordinator as we do now, which
Yeah.
you know, we lost what, we gave up 21 points, something like that, something low 20s. Josh
New
Allen,
England?
yeah, right.
They scored 29.
Oh, 29? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Why did I think we only scored 22? Well, can't really
Because
blame
that's
that
what
on the
they were
offense.
at before
Never
scoring
mind.
that winning touchdown. Yeah.
My bad.
Yeah, it's okay, Casey.
Where's my dunce
We're
cap?
all wrong sometimes. So a couple of these comments here. Here's one from Roy. Wasn't Ifedi our only backup right tackle? Don't you dare say Bates can do it. Okay, I won't say that. Yeah, Bates is an interior guy. I think if it came around now too, if that's the only option, then that's the only option. I'm trying to think of that other kid's name.
Vandemark.
Vandemark. I think he could be potentially that swing tackle. I know
Yeah,
they really liked him in preseason.
he has been the active swing tackle. He's been the active backup tackle for us all year.
Okay, so yeah, we don't need Ifedi. I don't even know if Ifedi even got on the field at all this year.
No, I mean, because Spencer Brown has been healthy, Dawkins has been healthy, Vandemark. I mean, he's only coming in the spot plays when Brown has gotten those tweaks, and when Dawkins got those tweaks as well.
Yeah, it's definitely a good thing that the team as a whole, for the most part, seems to really starting to kind of come together, get healthy. And I do agree with you though, Casey. If Epinesa and Hyde can sit this week, I think you do it. Let Jonathan Kingsley or Kingsley Jonathan. I can never remember which way it goes, but we're just going to call him Kingsley. I wouldn't mind him getting on the field because he's shown flashes here and there in his career with the Bills so far, and I would like to see him on more of a full-time role against the Patriots. Who, yeah, I don't know. I guess there's scar tissue this season for me now going forward because, yeah, they did lose to the Patriots. Yes, they lost to the Broncos when they shouldn't have. Yes, they lost to the Jets when they probably shouldn't have. And in all of those games, with the exception of that first Jets game, Josh Allen walked off the field with winning that game.
Right.
But then went to the locker room with a loss. So I think I saw somewhere where 9 games this year we've been down by a score or 1-score games. We were leading in every single one of them when Josh Allen walked off the field for the last time. Now
And then we get scored on.
Yeah, I didn't confirm that, so if that's incorrect, I apologize. But I saw that earlier today. It wouldn't shock me though if that's the case because I know there was at least a few where that was absolutely the case. So, Roy again. Roy, we love you, man. Vandermark is a left tackle. They tried him at right tackle at preseason. It was ugly.
Hey, if he's good enough
a left tackle.
But if he's good enough a left tackle, they're willing to take the ugliness at right tackle to keep him active over Ifedi.
Yeah. So I'm just, like I said, I'm glad to see them finally getting healthy. Yeah. Hopefully we get Daquan Jones back. I'm super excited about that one.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody could be back minus Milano and White.
Another player that we didn't talk about getting activated was Kyrie Elam.
Right.
I mentioned the name.
He's back full of practice. Oh, you did. That's right.
But yeah, we haven't really talked about it yet.
So now we've got Benford, Jackson, Douglas, and Elam. It's a pretty good cornerback room. I know Elam, we were all bashing Elam earlier in the year. We were fine if we traded him at the deadline. I understand. But, like, I mean, if he's going to be your fourth corner, like outside corner, I should say, that's pretty good. That's a pretty solid room you've got there.
Mm-hmm.
If your number one draft pick from 2 years ago is your worst corner. So
and that's fourth corner, not counting Taryn.
Exactly. So I'm in a pretty good spot right now, like mentality wise, when it comes to this defensive back room right now.
He was playing injured too, right? And nobody really knew about it.
Yeah.
And everyone was kind of hating on him a little bit. So we haven't really, I think, seen his potential yet.
Yeah, I do agree with that. It's similar to what happened with Spencer Brown last year.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody was on him and thought, okay, we need to move on from him. I think we were one of the few that were still, I was like not ready to give up on him.
Yeah.
But with
he's
Elam,
really turned it
same
around.
thing. Oh yeah, I think definitely. And with Elam, let me just ask you, and I'll start with you, Mike. If Elam has to come in and play significant snaps, are you comfortable?
As long as this injury is truly, it's not some nagging injury. So I think as long as he's healthy, I mean, I think we saw some, flashes of good things. I mean, I know he's still a young player and we've seen some mistakes too, but he's got the athleticism. We've seen him make some great plays. So I'm totally comfortable with having him in the game if we need him.
Even against the Dolphins?
Yeah.
Dolphins are one of the few teams you would be more okay with him playing because he is probably the fastest corner that we have.
Have a man up Tyreek or something.
I have a contingency question. Who would be the cornerback that got injured? Because I
don't want to go there.
Because if it's Rasul Douglas, I mean, I'm not super confident in just because they're so dang young, and I love Benford, but like it's just one of those. I wouldn't trust Benford as the one and Elam as the two. I think at that point it would be Dane Jackson coming in. But if Benford were to go down, I would rather have Elam in there than Jackson at this point in time, just to see what the athleticism is. See how the injury did derail him earlier this season. If he has gotten better and is back to his rookie year when he was tied to the team leading interceptions.
Yeah,
he really came on in his rookie year last year, late in the season. I still remember that pick. I think it was against the Dolphins, if I remember right.
That diving backwards.
Yeah, they basically saved that game. I think the skill set's definitely there. We'll see how much the injury affected him. You hear about that all the time. Gabe Davis last year, we heard that was kind of the issue with him last season. I don't know if that's necessarily true at this point, even though, yes, we know he had a big game last week, but man, that has got to be the most frustrating thing for me as a fan watching these games and never knowing, is he going to be there this weekend or not? Like it's almost odd how consistently inconsistent he is at this point. Like, you can bank on it almost every third or fourth game. Oh, here comes Gabe Davis. He's going to have 100 yards. He's going to have 4 or 5 catches, and he's going to disappear for 2 or 3 games. And then here he comes again, another 100. I was like, it's so weird.
I don't know.
I hate the fact, like I'm looking for him right now.
I like that we're unpredictable when it comes to that, but you would sure like to see some consistency out of it. When
he's gone.
Starting wide receiver.
This is, oh my God, this is hideous. So 4 catches, 0 catches, 0 catches, 6 catches, 0 catches, 2 catches, 0 catches, 9 catches, 1 catch. So out of his last 9 games, he has 4 games with 0 catches and 5 with a combined 1 catch. I hate that. I would rather have somebody 4 for 60 every week.
Yes, absolutely. Like a Khalil Shakir.
I would rather
have paid.
Don't you think though that the other team, our opponent's defensive game plan might have something to do with it too?
No.
Like some teams might focus more on trying to stop Gabe. But I mean, sometimes we just don't see him targeted at all.
Well,
But that has to do with the relationship that Josh is like he's losing Josh's trust. I mean,
Yeah.
we could have that Philly game. If he runs away from the safety and goes outside instead of inside, or what vice versa, whatever it was, like it's that's another game under our belt. We don't need Miami to lose this weekend. We just go into week 18 straight up for the 2 seed and the division. It's just one of those things. He's had some drops this year. I understand everybody's going to go to drop percentage and this and that. I know what I've seen. He's had some bad drops this year. Same with Diggs, same with a lot of our receivers.
He grabs the jump and grab it one handed, but then he drops this one. You know what I mean?
It's the concentrate. Well, it's the concentration catches. It's one of those things. Like you got to be able to just see ball, bring ball in, and he just can't do it.
Let's talk about Diggs for a second. Are you guys concerned at all at this point in the season? He was hot as heck at the first half. I don't want to say he's disappeared, but I think last week he was targeted, I believe, 8 times, 4 receptions and 24, 25 yards. What's happening there? I've seen some thought that maybe he has a nagging injury that he's just not talking about, and that's certainly possible. But the drops should not have anything to do with an injury, and I think he leads the team more than Diggs and drop passes right now.
I mean, so what gets me thinking that there really might be the injury is how often you see him coming off the field, and especially on third down in the last couple of games. It seems like he truly is like his snaps are truly being managed and counted. And until it's crunch time, they're like go wild. And even at that point, you see Diggs in the game, a defense is going to lean towards him. And it worked out last week where Davis was able to get open against a weak secondary. Yeah. But I do think that there probably is something, that we all don't know about, not something serious, but something that, something like a hamstring that if he does work it too much, that ends, that could potentially end a season. We've seen a hamstring take 6-8 weeks to get better.
He did tweet that moving gracefully tweet recently, right? The past day or so, something about moving gracefully. It was one of those, vague
cryptic tweets that he likes to put out there.
I must have missed that.
Messing with
it could have been about a movie he was watching or something, but who knows?
Yeah, let me touch on the snap count that you just spoke of. I believe there was 55 snaps on the offensive side of the ball, which isn't a lot normally, actually. And he had 33 snaps. Khalil Shakir, I believe, had 30 snaps. So he was like right there with, our nickel or our slot guy. So yeah, to your point, the snap count, the snap share has dropped. And I also wonder if it's a little bit to do with just ramping him down a little bit to keep him fresh. And then once we hit go time, probably in week 18, if that game's for the division, then we see that those snap counts ramp back up again. And he's, Diggs is one of those guys that if he had a broken leg, he would probably saw it off and shove a stick in there and go out there and play football. That's the kind of guy that he is, I think.
Right.
But so I don't know. Me personally, I'm not really concerned about it either. I think there might be something lingering.
No.
I'm not worried about the age thing. I don't think he's hit any type of proverbial wall or anything yet. But
there's one
good
more thing
to see. Go ahead.
That do you think that since Joe Brady has taken over as offensive coordinator, that maybe like we've seen a difference in the offense with the running? Obviously, do you think he's more struggling with how he wants to utilize Diggs in the offense?
I don't think so.
I don't know. Do you think Brady might be focused more here than there, and I mean,
it could be him putting more things on film, showing other defenses, hey, we do have other weapons. Look what we can do with Kincaid. Look what we can do with Shakir. Look what we can do in the running game with James Cook. And then once defenses kind of get lulled into that, oh yeah, we still have Diggs. He can still play. Yeah. And he goes off for 10 catches for 150 yards and 2 touchdowns. I could absolutely see that. But the only thing that kind of makes me think that maybe that's not the case is we are in must-win mode and have been for about a month. I can't see them intentionally taking their best offensive weapon outside of Josh Allen out of the game plan when you have to get these wins.
Especially not with how close the last game. Well, quite a few games this year, but especially the last one.
I do think there probably is just a little bit of look over here, while we have something brewing over here. I definitely think that is something to do with it. To where, all right, we're going to need you guys down the stretch. You haven't been leaned on in these big games and these big positions before. So, yeah, let's try to lean on Shakir and see if Gabe can still come up big when we truly need him. Knox is back. He's had some decent catches, the last few weeks. James Cook obviously has come on. So I think it's just one of those like you guys have both said. Look over here, over here is don't worry about over here. This you'll get this in time.
Yeah. Hopefully,
it's coming.
We're all dying.
Yeah, it's coming. Well, speaking of Diggs and Cook.
Yeah,
this is awesome. The first time since 2012 that we've had teammates that have eclipsed 1,000 yards as a rusher and a receiver. Now the receiver is show favorite, Stevie Johnson. We all love Stevie Johnson over here.
Yeah.
And the running back I loved him at Clemson. I mean, I was so happy when we got him. CJ Spiller. He and Fred Jackson were like the definition of thunder and lightning. It was.
You're saying those are the last 2,000-yard players
to be on the same team, yeah.
Really? Wow. Oh, at the same time.
At the same time.
I see.
I mean, Cook's our first 1,000-yard rusher since LaShawn McCoy.
Right.
So I mean, it's been a long time coming. So the fact that Josh has gone his entire career without 1,000-yard rusher. I mean, that's like Matt Stafford when he played for the Lions and he had never played with a 100-yard rusher for whatever it was, the first 12 years of his career or something insane like that. It's just so it's cool. These guys are real. I mean, Cook's really coming on. Diggs is always going to be Diggs. It's nice to see this offense be good, not just with Diggs and Josh. That we have another player that can carry weight.
It's on the defensive side too. It's kind of crazy when you think about it. So this year we had our first 1,000-yard rusher. Like you were just saying, we had our first two 1,000-yard performers in years. We also had our first double-digit sack guy since 2016 when Lorenzo Alexander had 12.5, which, by the way, I believe is the legend of the week at the game this weekend.
Oh, really?
Correct.
Yeah. So I saw that today. But yeah, this is the kind of almost like the year of firsts. We can also throw in the first time in NFL history that Josh Allen or any quarterback has produced 40 touchdowns or more in 4 consecutive seasons. You guys know who has the record for the most 40 touchdown seasons career-wise?
I want to say I read it somewhere.
Drew Brees.
Allen is tied for second with somebody, and then the top guy has 6 such seasons, not consecutively or anything, but
Aaron Rodgers.
Who's he tied with? Correct. Aaron Rodgers is most with 6. Tom Brady is the one he's tied with right now.
Figured he was in there somewhere.
That's
Josh
has
done it in his first 6 years. That's insane. Yeah. That's nuts. Like that.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to wonder. I mean, I know records get broken all the time, but we don't talk about the record that will never be broken. Like a lot of them. And could this end up being one of them? I mean, I feel like this might be like to start a career most touchdowns ever. Like Mahomes just did most touchdowns in the first 100 games. Josh is going to blow that out of the water.
Oh yeah.
It's like going to be one of those, like, how high of a bar are we really seeing right now? If like these two players are blowing out of the water and what's going to be back-to-back seasons, like how long are we going to have to wait again till we see it again? Am I going to be Papa Ron's age, or like is this just going to be, or is this just going to be the new NFL? You know what I'm saying? Like, is Anthony Richardson, just throwing a name out there, like, is he going to be the next guy to do it? Like, is it just going to start being one of those things as we see more running quarterbacks coming into the league?
I think the position is changing into the more athletic, not Tom Brady type quarterbacks. which makes it more likely that they can put up those types of numbers. It's hard to say. I mean, the biased part of me wants to be like, yeah, nobody's ever going to touch Josh Allen's records. But is that fair to say that? When you have guys, athletic freaks like an Anthony Richardson out there, or the up-and-coming guys like Drake May over in North Carolina, Caleb Williams at USC, whom we won't talk about college football guys right now, but there's a lot of super, super talented quarterbacks coming up who are extremely athletic. You never know. Watching the kid over in Tennessee, help me with the name. Shoot, the rookie.
Will Levis?
Levis.
Yeah.
Will Levis. You guys watched him play? He's actually fun to watch. Like
I've seen
reminds
highlights.
me of Josh Allen.
Yeah.
He reminds me of Josh Allen the way he runs, especially in Allen's earlier years when he would just bulldoze people for the fun of it. That's what Levis does on the field. He's a lot of fun to watch, and I think the Titans might have their guy finally.
Do you know who?
First time they've had a real quarterback in like a decade.
Do you know who he reminds me of? And like, this is gonna scare the crap out of Titans fans. Ryan Tannehill.
What?
Like the way that Levis plays is the exact same way that Ryan Tannehill also plays. Like I truly think they replaced Ryan Tannehill with Ryan Tannehill.
No,
I do. Like
no.
I'm telling you, dude.
I can't stand
I'm
Tannehill.
telling
He's
you.
just a trash quarterback.
So do I.
If they had a real quarterback,
I'm telling you.
Okay, look, people talk about this coaching staff wasting Josh Allen's career and his talents. That's what the Titans have done to Derrick Henry. They have wasted his career behind a mediocre quarterback.
That poor bastard, man. I mean, he got bit by the loyalty bug. I mean, I understand, being loyal to the team that drafted you. If the fan base, you do so much for a community. He should have got the hell up out of there, man. Like when he signed that last contract, he could have gotten another big contract somewhere else and actually played for something. Like, I understand Tennessee was hot for a little bit, but it all relied on Derrick Henry. It was never because of Ryan Tannehill.
Even when they were good, they didn't do anything in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Somebody look this up. If you're listening and you got your phone or whatever, look it up. I want to know how many playoff wins does Ryan Tannehill have as the quarterback? Combine his whole career, Dolphins, and I don't even think he went to the playoffs with the Dolphins. But if he did, I want to know his total career wins in the playoffs because I would bet it's one or less. I don't think the Titans ever won a playoff game. 2. Okay, he's got 2 wins. 2.
He's
2
2
wins.
and 3.
They were the
That's
number one
a
seed a
quick
couple of
search.
years ago.
Statmuse.com.
Yeah, and they got smacked when they were the number 1 seed by the Bengals.
Yeah, right off the bat, first game in their playoffs, and they're bounced.
That was when the Bengals sacked Tannehill like a record of 38,000 times in one game.
Yeah. Now, I hope that any Tennessee Titans fans who happen to hear this, because I do have some family and cousins who are Titans fans. I've never been a Tannehill fan, and I've always felt like since he was in Miami, he's going to bring down whatever team he plays for. So for me,
I love
comparing
playing
him
against
to Will Levis, Levis he's better, and I
One
think
of
he's
my
going
wor-
to have a nice career.
One of my worst enemies in life is a diehard Titans fan, so I hope they just live in a world of purgatory.
Well, for the sake of the Bills, me too, but I do think he's going to be a good quarterback when it's all said and done. Is he going to put up Josh Allen, kind of get back to the records thing? I don't see that necessarily, but then again, you never freaking know. Nobody would have said that Josh Allen would be who he is today 4 years ago. Prior to that 2020 season, those of us who watched him every single game, every single play, we saw flashes. We saw moments like, oh, this guy's going to be good. But even I would not have said, he's going to have 100, 200, whatever touchdowns he's got within his first 6 years and counting. And he's going to be the only player in NFL history to score 40, blah, blah, blah. I mean, he can go on and on about all the firsts and records he's already got 6 years into his career.
Imagine all the stuff that he already has in Canton, and he just started his second contract. Like, that's nuts.
It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And people think he sucks.
You bring that up. It's funny. His game-worn jersey and cleats from that New England Patriots playoff game, the perfect quote unquote game.
Yep.
Those went to Canton.
Yeah.
As they
I believe,
should.
yeah, that's the only game, again, in NFL history where a quarterback has thrown for over 300 yards, 5 touchdowns, 80% completion rate, and 60 yards rushing. It's the first time it's ever been done in a playoff game, regular game, anything.
And the team never reached fourth down.
Yeah, that was a wild game. That was that whole playoff season was phenomenal. And it's unfortunate the end of the way it did, but let's continue on really quick before we move into the next little piece we want to talk about. Once again, if you're listening, whether you're listening live or later on you're listening to the podcast, we appreciate you. We thank you for your support. Again, MafiaCast, we're part of the Buffalo Rumblings podcast network. There's a whole lot of great shows on the Buffalo Rumblings network. Go check them out. Go to YouTube, podcast, Spotify, wherever, and check those guys out. And while you're at it, please give us a like, subscribe, and share. Join our Facebook group as well, at the MafiaCast. We love conversating with fans on there.
Mm-hmm.
And next up, let's talk about the NFL as a whole right now. Because there's one team that Casey's got something, I think.
I have a couple of questions.
Go for it. I'll let you start.
So, two of my good friends, Mike and Stuart. Stuart is a Broncos fan, and we've all heard the news about Russell Wilson today.
Yeah.
Yep.
My friend Mike is a Steelers fan, and we all know how their quarterback situation has been. Not this Mike, no. Mike is the mayor of Fabius. I'll just put it out there. God, I hope he's listening. So we were arguing back and forth, whose team, they're being haters, the Bills still suck, blah, blah, blah. Josh Allen isn't good. He leads the league in turnovers, the same usual banner we always hear. And then this news about Russell comes out, and Stewart just doesn't believe it because he doesn't believe it because no matter what, they're on the books for $35 million for him this year in dead cap. So he thinks that they won't cut him, even though they've already said that they're going to cut him. So what do you guys think the Broncos should do with Russell? And what do you guys think the future of the Steelers is? Because it looks like they don't have a quarterback either, and their wide receivers are truly starting to not care. Najee Harris has fallen off a cliff. Pat Freiermuth has been missing, but you can account that to the quarterback play. The defense and Tomlin is why they're as successful as they are. Mm-hmm. So I'm just curious what your guys, as outsiders, what your opinions are of those two teams right now and what their futures hold.
I think.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Mike. I'll let you go. I gotta stew on this for a minute.
Yeah, I kind of do too. So what's the story with Pickett right now? They're just
Pickett can come back. He was supposed to come back this week 17, but because I can't even remember his name right now, the Steelers' current quarterback, Mason Rudolph, has played so well, they're going to continue with him. Right. But he played one game well. They've seen this time and time again. How he's come in, he's won him 2 games, and boom, that's it. So, I'm just curious, what your guys' opinion is.
I think Pickett is a decent quarterback. He's not. I wouldn't say he's like Josh Allen or at that level, but I do you
think he's even Kirk Cousins?
No.
So then you can't.
I like
then
Cousins
you can't
personally.
Then you can't keep him.
Right.
Personally,
Cousins
he
is their
Cousins
best
is
hope right now. But if you're if you don't have a solid option there, it's gonna hurt the rest of your team. You're not gonna be able to get the running game going either. Like we've seen Najee Harris fall off, and that's probably part of the reason for that happening. But I was really hopeful that I thought Pickett could be a decent quarterback. Obviously, Trubisky and Rudolph are definitely not the answer, probably for anybody after seeing some recent games. But for the future of the Steelers, I don't know. They're kind of just, are they getting towards that rebuilding stage, I guess?
Well, I was actually thinking about the Steelers earlier today. So my daughter Ashley, she's got a lot of comments in here, and I'm going to put this one up. So Dawson is her husband. He is a Steelers fan, um, and so he's saying Steelers can't afford Russell Wilson. As far as if they were to try to pursue Wilson, as far as Pickett goes for me, um, and I'd like to be curious to what Dawson and Ashley think about Pickett, but it's hard for me to throw in the towel on a second-year quarterback
Right.
or a first-year quarterback because of what we've seen from Josh Allen. A lot of people are ready to throw in the towel on him after his first 2 seasons. But over all of the years that I've watched this game, it's typically like the Patrick Mahomes year 2, thing. That's an anomaly. It doesn't happen that often, even in today's league. Yes, there are some guys that come in year 1, year 2, and they're like, oh gosh, this guy's really good. Most of the time, most players take 3 or 4 seasons to develop. So I think they stick with Pickett. Personally, I would stick with Pickett for one more season. Let's see what he does next year. However, if the opportunity is there to get a rookie quarterback this draft, I would do that as well. Have a backup plan. But here's the problem that they're having, I think, at this point, is they talk about how Tomlin has never had a losing season. That's almost a detriment now because they're drafting in the middle of the draft. It's the same thing we saw with Buffalo during the drought years. They would always win 6, 7, 8 games almost every year. So they would be drafting somewhere in the middle of the rounds and could never get high enough to get that quarterback. I think that's where the Steelers are now. And I don't know how you fix that other than you giving up some assets and some players, get that quarterback, and like Mike, you just said, begin to rebuild around a new young quarterback that you got really high in the draft.
Yeah. As far as Denver goes too, with the Russ situation, he I don't think they're out on him yet. Maybe they're writing this year off. We missed the playoffs. We did see him start out horribly and then try to, he sort of started to get a handle on things. And he won a couple good games, but maybe it's just, for now, this season, let's rest him. I don't think they're getting rid of him or anything like that, but
Wilson?
Yeah.
A report came out today. They're cutting him.
Really?
They're going to cut him in March.
So this is kind of the backstory that I've heard.
Why.
It's because
this is kind of the backstory I heard.
I don't think Sean
a few
Payton
weeks
likes
ago.
him.
Yeah, a few weeks ago, prior to I can't remember which game, but it's been a few weeks. They went to Russell Wilson and said, "Hey, we need to add some weapons. We need to add some players. We need you to redo your deal. We can't afford to do anything going forward because of your contract. Let's rework it. Let's do something. Let's renegotiate." And he simply flat refused to do that.
Right.
So, and I was kind of listening to the Line to Gain show last night because they were talking about this. And I've also seen a lot of comments on Twitter. There's a lot of people that are actually backing Wilson in that. And it's like, well, that's the contract they agreed to. Yeah. Why should he take a pay cut or whatever? And I get that. But as a professional athlete, like even for me, I'm not a professional athlete by any stretch of the imagination, but I want to win. That to me would be more important, especially at this stage of his career when he's already made the millions. His wife makes more money than he does. He doesn't need that money. So, so that's kind of what, built it. And so now the two, Peyton and Wilson are button heads and they're not getting along because Wilson hasn't been terrible this year.
No, he has better numbers than Mahomes. Oh, did I say that out loud?
I just can't believe. I can't believe they're just going to cut him like that. It's crazy to me.
Jeremy makes a good point. Another guy, speaking of which, having better numbers than Mahomes this year, Baker. More touchdowns, less interceptions. That Bucs offense hasn't been bad this year. They really haven't. Mike Evans, another 1,000-yard, another 1,000-yard year. You can book that and bet on that every year of your life. 1,000 yards, 10 touchdowns, 80 catches from Mike Evans every single year. If Baker really has, matured, his game matured, he has gotten better. I don't see why not. I would be willing to take a flyer on him. If he takes a somewhat decent deal, and, like Jeremy said, keep building the O line. They got that guard or tackle out of Georgia last year, Broderick Jones, that we all fell in love with. They've got some young pieces there. I think that's not. I don't think that's the world's worst idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Where you need to jump forward a little bit because show's kind of going fast here. Let's get into, first of all, this weekend's game basically and what's at stake for the Bills and Patriots matchup, because it's the Patriots, but this is a big game. The Bills could actually claim a playoff spot this weekend, and there's 14 different scenarios where that can happen, so I'm not going to go into all of them. But some of the main ones, basically, Buffalo wins, Pittsburgh loses or ties, Cincinnati lost or tie. That one gets us in, and then Pittsburgh lost or tie, Jacksonville lost or tie, Buffalo gets in. I'll stop it there because the rest of them are like if this, if that, if this. Mm-hmm. So those are probably the two main ones. I can't remember who these teams are playing this weekend to know how likely those scenarios are to happen.
Bengals are playing the Chiefs.
Okay, so that's a good one.
That could be a good one.
The Steelers play the Seahawks.
I would take the Seahawks in that one. I
would too. The only thing I'm not sure with the Bengals and Chiefs is I have not seen if Jamar Chase is available for this weekend or not yet. They haven't made that announcement, I don't think. No, he was out last week.
I do know that Jamar was talking crap about the Chiefs' defense, so that's usually not a good sign.
And that's why I can't stand the Bengals. They talk way too much, like every damn one of them. Mm-hmm. Just shut up and play the game. I know I'm part of that old school generation that. But,
get off my lawn.
I know there's a lot of shit talking that goes on the field, and that's totally fine. But why take it to the media and disparage your opponents that way? To me, it's disrespectful. It's cocky. It's arrogant. It's Anyways, I'll move on from that soapbox.
So did you say we want the Browns to lose too?
If the Browns lose and someone else loses,
the Jets,
we get in.
So I don't see one of all of these, the 14 that are listed, and you can find these on ESPN if anyone wants to go look at it, but I don't see any of them have anything to do with Cleveland, though.
Oh, okay.
None of them say Cleveland this or that.
Mentioned the main ones.
Oh, the main ones? Cincinnati and Jacksonville.
Oh, Jacksonville.
Lose or tie, or Pittsburgh and Cincinnati lose or tie.
I see.
There's also some here that include Houston.
Yeah.
Those are mostly the three teams involved.
The Jacksonville
Indianapolis involved too.
To answer Roy's question about is anybody being shocked that we still shot at the 2 seed? Nope.
No. We've been preaching that for 3 weeks since they got to 6-6, and we've been saying, reminding people, look, every single year they do this, the last 3 years, they've closed out the regular season on a winning streak. And I always get that, well, this is a different team than last year. Well, last year's team was different than the year before, and they did it. That team was different the year before that, and they still did it. Like, the core of this team is the same. The coaching staff is the same. Why they do this is beyond me. I don't know why they dig themselves into a hole every single year.
It's football, man.
Yeah.
But
it's football. Life, personalities. Crap just happens.
It's been a great year.
Yeah.
But, like across the board, there's some really, really good teams out there.
Yeah, you can almost say that we should have seen this coming as far as the AFC goes, because the AFC is so loaded with talent and great quarterbacks, albeit half of them are injured now. But the AFC's kind of beating up on itself. Like
Big
even
time.
The Ravens, were they, I think, 12-3? Yeah. That's really the only team that's been consistently winning throughout the whole season. Everybody else has got 5 losses or more, with the exception of the Dolphins, but that's about to change. They're going to finish the year with 6 losses, so we can throw that out there.
But yeah, from there on down, it's kind of You see how fast we jumped up in the playoff picture. I mean, just in one weekend. So it shows how kind of how close the standings are.
Yeah, we went from the 11th seed 3 weeks ago to potentially getting the 2 seed. Right now, we're still in the 6th spot. Hopefully, everything works out and we can lock it up this week. As far as the game itself goes, What do you guys think? What are you kind of expecting? I don't want to get into score predictions just yet, but what do you see? How do you see this game kind of going? Are you at all concerned because of what happened the last time, or do you think we got this in the bag? What are you guys' thoughts?
Just don't give
We
me a
don't-
flag fest,
Yeah.
please. We
Mike's
are
right.
penalized more than the Patriots are. And Belichick, and he knows how to play smart football. Not that he's the players, but you know what I mean. Yeah, I mean, you got to play a smart game. You got to protect the ball. They have more, their turnover ratio is like -7. We're like right at 0. So I do think we could force some turnovers, which is huge. And I mean that alone could do it for us. But man, just stay away from the penalties. We've been doing really good. We've had a little bit of issues here and there, but nothing too concerning yet. But yeah, it'd be a good game to just see that we got our crap together, play a good clean game. We shouldn't be worried about this game. We shouldn't be, but it's the Patriots, and
If
Diggs
this
is
was a
about
year or two ago, I wouldn't be worried, but
I'd
this
hate to get
year, because the way
complacent.
things, yeah, exactly. What do you think, Casey?
Diggs is about to eat. I think this is everybody's been just like we talked about today. Everybody's been kind of harping on Diggs for the last whatever it was 9 games. He hasn't had a 100-yard game or whatever. That doesn't mean he's not wide receiver 1. That doesn't mean his age is catching up to him or that he's a diva or anything like that. The offense has been going through changes and phases, and he's stepped up when we've needed him to. And he's had monster catches when we absolutely needed to have him. Until that stops happening, I'll never lose confidence in Diggs.
Yeah.
But like I think that this is going to be like we expected last week to be like our get right game, to really put the pedal to the floor and really beat up on a not as good team as us. Truly, they're like the Patriots are not as good of a team as the Bills. I think this is the week that we do it. I think we all know Josh Allen has been Bill Belichick's kryptonite. He has not figured out a way to really slow him down too much.
Yeah.
So I really think Josh is going to go out on a mission this week and be like, all right, we got Miami next week. I know it's 1 week at a time, but
off the knuckles and go. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like, he's going to really show everybody, look who's back. And Daddy's fighting for the 2 seed.
Yeah. I want to address really quick what Roy said here. I think the other AFC teams losing their starting quarterbacks have definitely worked for the Bills in favor, though.
Yeah.
Cleveland's still winning. They got a backup quarterback. The Colts have done pretty well with a backup quarterback. The Bengals have only lost 1 game with a backup quarterback. The Pittsburgh might be the one exception. I think they have suffered probably the most by losing Pickett, even though say what you want about him, he's probably a better option with they got right now. Whom else am I missing? Maybe the Chargers, but the Chargers weren't doing that great even before Herbert got injured, so I wouldn't really consider that one either. I'm actually been kind of surprised. Yeah, I've actually been surprised at how well some of these rookies, or not rookie, but these backup quarterbacks have played for their respective teams. But
Joe Flacco. That's all I have to say is Joe Flacco.
Yeah.
I thought he was retired. Well, he basically was retired. He was on a couch.
Yeah. That's wild. I don't think that lasts, but it's a good story. Whatever.
I thought I heard that he wasn't like couch bound. He might have been doing yard work or something.
Probably. He definitely seems like a gardener kind of guy.
Staying active.
Yeah.
Roy just made it funny, guys. This is hilarious.
Yeah.
Could you imagine Gabe Davis having back-to-back 100-yard receiving? No.
I could imagine it.
I can imagine it. And then I wake up.
Yeah, exactly. It was a hell of a dream.
Oh, we're terrible. I love Gabe Davis.
Awesome,
I do, but
hey.
We were since the creation of this show, we have been Gabe Davis like supporters 100%. We have backed him. For him to have lost us, it's not an us thing at this point.
I think we just got to throw him the wild ball and make him grab it one-handed, or just make the catch difficult, and he'll get it. I don't know.
There you go. Make it hard.
That's why.
All right, let's get into the score predictions, guys. We're getting up here on the hour. Who went first last week? I don't even know.
Pop Ron, you're first.
All right, I'll start us off. All right, I'm going to go with Buffalo. I'm not calling a blowout, even though They should, honestly. But I'm going to say Bills win this one 31-20. It's not a blowout, but it's still a good beating.
All right. Are you ready, Case?
No, go ahead, Mike.
All right. So I'm saying the Bills cover the spread, and I went over on the points. So 13-30 Bills.
Ooh, I have 13-34 Bills.
Oh, really?
I was thinking
Oh,
the same
interesting.
thing with the spread and over and under.
Yeah. Sweet.
All right. Well, as long as it's not me predicting the blowout, then I think we're okay.
Yeah.
I was watching that game last week with the Chargers, and Dan, who we had on last week, who does some Chargers content, he was messaging me, and he said something about the game being closer than it should have been or whatever. And I was like, that's my fault. Like every time I predict a blowout, this is what happens. So it's totally my fault. Bills fans, I apologize. I am never predicting a blowout again. Roy's got the Bills 27-23. Ashley, my daughter's got them Bills winning 34-20. She's more along wins with me. But yeah, this has been a great show again. Everybody listening, watching, we appreciate you. We love you. And we'll see everybody back here same time next week, Thursday night, 7 o'clock Eastern time. Everybody have a great weekend. Happy New Year's and go Bills.
Go Bills.
Go Bills. Tell your friends.